Hi, I'm Mrs. Claus. Yes, that Claus. I always knew Santa had a wandering streak, but getting lost in the North Pole and landing on the Vegas Strip? Really? I told him, stick to the route, the elves are counting on you. Now he's out there at Masterpiece Cuisine with foie gras and a side of I'm not coming home. Last I heard, he tried to put the reindeer on blackjack, and I think Rudolph's nose is covering dessert. Presents? Please. Unless you're into foie gras and regret, don't count on it.
It was mid-September 2025, the time when normal people were still clinging to summer but not Santa Claus. While everyone else was buying sunscreen and pumpkin spice lattes, Santa was already in full-blown Christmas panic mode. Wrapping drills, cookie quality checks, sleigh test flights, it was crunch time at the North Pole. So, naturally, when Santa fired up the sleigh for his annual pre-Christmas calibration run, he expected a smooth, quick test loop around the Arctic Circle. Unfortunately, he forgot one crucial thing. The elves had recently upgraded the sleigh's navigation system with AI. The AI had one fatal flaw: it was trained using the internet, which meant it had a deep and inexplicable obsession with influencer hotspots. When Santa typed in home, the sleigh didn't interpret that as North Pole. It interpreted it as Masterpiece Cuisine, Las Vegas. Seconds later, Rudolph's nose flared. The GPS said something suspiciously sultry in a robotic voice, and the sleigh shot off into the sky with unnecessary enthusiasm. The reindeer were confused, but too polite to say anything. Rudolph blinked rapidly, trying to figure out why the North Pole had suddenly developed palm trees, neon lights, and people dressed as shirtless cowboys in glitter boots. By the time they figured out something had gone wrong, the sleigh had already crash-landed on the Las Vegas Strip. Santa was surrounded by an Elvis impersonator and two showgirls. Santa, never one to panic, except when fruitcake goes on back order, dusted off his coat, adjusted his hat, and realized he had two problems. One, he was not in the Arctic, and two, he was starving. The reindeer, slightly dizzy from the landing, emerged from the sleigh like chaotic Christmas popcorn. Dasher and Dancer did synchronized stretches in front of a fountain. Prancer struck poses like a high-fashion model. Vixen discovered a karaoke booth and refused to leave until someone carried her out. Comet, Cupid, and Prancer wandered off in search of frozen margaritas. Donner tried to meditate in the middle of a crosswalk, and Blitzen predictably got into an argument with a vending machine. Then the smell hit them. The unmistakable, irresistible aroma of roasted garlic, seared meat, and overly expensive truffle oil. The scent led them like moths to a flame, or, in this case, like a sleigh full of holiday chaos to Masterpiece Cuisine. Inside the sleek, upscale restaurant, Santa was mistaken for a themed performer. He didn't care. He was handed a menu that looked more like an art exhibit, and the elves gasped at the descriptions. Words like foam, infused, and deconstructed were used liberally. Santa ordered a large fruitcake purely out of instinct. The reindeer, too large for the dining room, were escorted to a private valet area where they were hand-fed artisanal carrots and misted with cucumber water. Rudolph, still shaken by the GPS betrayal, curled up with a silk napkin over his eyes. Santa's meal arrived, complete with edible gold, something smoked under a glass dome, and a side of mashed potatoes shaped like a snowman riding a truffle-scented sleigh. The elves clapped and embraced Santa. The gingerbread house delighted them. One wept. Dasher accidentally elbowed a waiter while reaching for a breadstick. Dancer tried to tip the maitre d' with chocolate coins. Prancer took selfies with every dish. Vixen asked if they could bottle the air. Comet and Cupid started a whisper campaign to turn Masterpiece Cuisine into an official South Pole outpost. Donner tried to trade jingle bells for espresso. Blitzen disappeared halfway through the meal and reappeared wearing a poker visor and smelling like cigar smoke. Once thoroughly fed, hydrated, and about 40% fancier than they'd ever been before, Santa checked the time. September was ticking away, and the Christmas prep schedule wasn't going to pad itself. He paid the bill using peppermint crypto, an experimental currency the elves regretted inventing, gave the staff honorary nice list status, and rallied the team. The sleigh, slightly bloated from resting too long in luxury, sputtered to life. Rudolph led the charge not out of duty, but out of desperation to leave before the AI GPS tried to redirect them to Coachella. Back in the sky, Santa shook his head and made a mental note. Next time, stick with paper maps. Down below, the lights of the Vegas Strip faded behind them. And just like that, Santa and his oddball team soared off into the night, full of truffle oil, confusion, and one heck of a story no one would believe. The end.